So in this video, I'll be sharing with you different ways by which you can increase your ability to deal with people. And by deal, I mean understanding what makes people tick, influencing people, and generally being someone whom everyone loves being around. So if you're open-minded and you love to learn more, keep your eyes glued on this video. What's up guys, it's your boy Coded99 again and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, I upload videos about personal development. I also invite people to have real talks about some important topics, and I upload fun content as well. So if you would like to see more of my content and keep up with this channel, please consider subscribing. First and foremost, this book is wonderful. You know when you have an experience that changes your life, this book has that effect. And like from what I learned, it was first published in 1936 and it has sold up to or more than 30 million copies worldwide, which has made it one of the best-selling books in the world. So it has too much spice. I can't wait to get into details with you guys. I'll be sharing with you the important things I learned in this book, and the title is there obviously, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. The principles taught in this book apply so much to everyone, and you can use them in various aspects of your lives. For example, in business, in your family, in interpersonal relationships, even as a leader you can use them, and it also applies in politics as well. It is divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is the fundamental techniques in handling people. Part 2 is titled How to Make People Like You. Part 3 is titled How to Win People to Your Way of Thinking. And part 4 is titled Be a Leader, with the extension being how to change people without causing offense or resentment. The first core lesson I would say I learned is to genuinely make people feel important. Obviously, the feeling of significance is part of our core human psychology. And not everyone wants to feel sort of on top of the world's significance, but everyone wants to feel acknowledged in some way. And Dale Carnegie explains that little things like developing the habit of remembering people's name helps a lot. It helps them feel important and acknowledged. He also shared various experiences of people and of himself, how applying this principle of remembering people's name and calling them by it has helped people to gravitate towards him and feel welcome when they're around him. Not to go into so much details about that, he also shared the fact that we should try to refrain from giving orders. Instead, give suggestions. And that's because no one really likes to take orders. So the question is, how does not giving orders make people feel significant? So I'll just give an example that I came up with. Let's assume you're a manager and in your company you want to increase the customer service quality. So you go up to your team and say something like, hey team, we need to increase our customer service quality, so I would like you to always smile on the phone when you're talking to customers because they can feel the smile. The thing with this approach is that although it may work for some time, your team may resent you because what if they're not in the mood to smile? What if there are better ways to do things? So applying this principle, you can approach your team like this. Hey team, we need to increase our customer service quality, blah, blah, blah. How do you think we can achieve this? Now, this will make them suggest various ways that you were probably not thinking of. The advantages to applying this principle is that, number 1, your team will get more creative and they will feel significant because they were part of the decision making. Number 2, people tend to do things better when they were part of the decision making. The decision you guys will make may last longer. And number 3, you may get better ideas than you initially wanted, but still achieve the same result. So win-win situation. Another thing I would say I learned, which is the second thing now if I'm counting, is that you should not criticize. And if you absolutely need to criticize, there is a better way to criticize that will not get you disliked or hated. At first, in this aspect, he tried explaining that we should try to avoid criticizing as much as possible. And his reason was because criticism could be futile because people may get defensive and it may want to make them strive to try and justify themselves. In his own words, he said it can wound a person's precious pride, hurt their sense of importance, and arouses resentment. I found that really impractical because there is no way that you can actually avoid criticism throughout your life. You can't run away from it. In fact, some people actually come to you to criticize their work. So how do you do when they bring such things to you? So I was hoping it would give more explanation to that And thankfully he did. Yeah, and in an attempt to actually make their fault seem easy to correct, he said you can start by encouraging them for the good things they've done or the little improvements they've actually made that you can see. And it has to be genuine. Don't fake it. So in doing this, I think this is another different topic entirely. He said like encourage people when they fail and make their fault seem easy to correct. So it's under criticizing people as well. Which I found interesting. He further explains practically in a family setting, which I'll go into. And another way he said is that you can start by criticizing yourself first or by talking about your own fault as well, just to create a level ground so they don't feel like they are the only one at fault, so they feel welcomed and not criticized or judged. And the third hint he gave is you should avoid using the word but and replace it with and, which was very useful. It changed it, like I had to register that in my brain because I found it really, really useful. So in a family setting, he said, for example, you're trying to correct your child. Let's assume your child's name is Johnny or John, whichever one you want to choose. So let's assume Johnny has a careless attitude towards his studies. So you're trying to correct Johnny, you're trying to make him see that he can improve, and you go with the approach of, hey Johnny, we're really proud of you for raising your grades this semester. But if you had worked harder on your algebra, maybe the grades would have been better. The thing with this approach is that Johnny would feel okay because you commended him at first, saying you're really proud of him and all, until he hears the word but. And what this does is to make him doubt why you were commending him at first. It would seem manipulative. But the better way of doing this is you can go with this same approach of encouraging him first and making him see that he can improve. So you go with something like, Johnny, we are really proud of you for raising your grades this term. And by continuing with the same effort next time, your algebra grades will be up with the others. Now there is no sense of negativity, there is no but. And if you look at this second approach, there is a higher chance that Johnny will do what you want him to do because there was no hint of negativity at all. This, for me, I found really useful, and I'll keep on using it from now on. I'd just like to stop you right there. If you feel like you're getting some value from this video, please consider subscribing. You can also share this video with your friends or family. Like this video, and I would love to hear from you in the comment section. So please leave a comment concerning the book, what you think of these principles. If you've read the book before, will you buy the book or not? Thank you very much. So moving forward, the next thing I learned in this book is to be welcoming, be a good listener, and be genuinely interested in people. Being welcoming in summary means, smile. Welcome people with your smile, because no one will feel drawn to you if you don't smile, if you're always frowning, if there is no emotion, no expression, nothing, just blank. Like they can't read you, if you get. So his own advice was to smile genuinely, and I like the fact that he emphasized on the genuineness of these things, because he explained also that people can sense when it's fake. They can sense a fake smile, so it's better to make it genuine, or I would say to practice making it genuine, so when you eventually want to implement them, it also comes natural to you. Secondly, being a listener and being genuinely interested in people works so well that I might have unknowingly tried it before, and I think it helps you become a good conversationalist. So it works like this. Instead of talking about yourself more around people, why not listen to them talk about themselves more? Because generally people like to talk about their interests, themselves. I mean, it works in dating settings as well. If you go on the dates, you don't just talk about yourself, you are genuinely interested in the person. And Dale Carnegie gave a beautiful explanation that I love. He said he went to a party one time, he met a botanist, and he was fascinated by the botanist, right? So they were talking, and all he did was to keep on asking the botanist questions about his work, and the botanist was telling him about exotic plants and the experiments they want to do to make new breeds of plants and all. To cut the long story short, after the party, the botanist went to the host of the party and said he has never met anyone like Mr. Dale because he's such a good conversationalist. And Dale Carnegie wrote in the book that he actually did not talk much. All he did was just to listen to this man talk about his interests and everything, which sends a message across to the man that Dale, is a good conversationalist. So you see what I'm saying, that everyone likes to talk about their interests and stuff, so why not listen to them? But it sounds selfless, and I was thinking when I was reading this part that selfishly, I want to know, if I keep on listening to people talk and talk and talk, what is in for me? Who is going to listen to me talk, right? Because I would also love to do this. Then I reasoned and I came to conclusions which I think is more beneficial than actually talking so much about myself. So my conclusions were, first of all, I think I would get to learn more about people, about various things. And secondly, I wouldn't always listen to people talk and talk, because I would meet some people who would also use this principle with me and they would also hear me talk. And thirdly, because I would have learned a lot from various people and in various spheres, whenever I am given the chance to speak or to open my mouth, I think what I would say would most likely be meaningful. It would be creative as well, and I think it would most likely make me a more interesting conversationalist. So this is just my theory. I hope it works this way. That's what that was the answer I gave myself. Let me know what you think about this particular thing. Being selfish and being selfless. Which one would you go for? Let me know what you think of the benefits and the downside as well. And the last thing I would say I learned is that when making a request, put it in a form that will convey to the other person that they will personally benefit from it as well. When I saw this, what popped up in my mind straight up was the 13th law in the book 48 Laws of Power, which says that when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. I think Dale Carnegie's approach was more genuine and has some element of empathy towards it. It's more empathetic. It's more like saying, I don't want to order you to do this thing, but I want to give you an incentive to do this. Also, it did not remove the element of gratitude or mercy. Those are still part of it, but the latter seems manipulative to me. An example was provided in the book, more like a conversation between a manager and an employee. So it was something like, John, we have customers coming in tomorrow and I need the stockroom cleaned out, so sweep it out, put the stock in neat piles on the shelves and polish the counter. So this was compared to when the principle is actually being applied. So it's going in this direction. John, we have a job that should be completed right away. If it is done now, we don't need to be faced with it later. I'm bringing some customers tomorrow to show our facilities, but the stockroom is in poor shape. If you could sweep it out, put the stock in neat piles on the shelf and polish the counter, it will make us look efficient and you would have done your part to provide a good company image. So there it is. You can choose which one you would like to use going forward, and there are a lot of things in this book. This is just like a summary of a summary, right? And I love authors who are real and practical, because at the end of this book, Dale Carnegie said, it is naive to believe you will always get a favorable reaction from other persons when you use these approaches. And I totally resonate with this. It's not a one-way assurance of the results, right? But he said something else. He said, if you apply these approaches and it gets you at least 10% success rate, it means you would have become a better person, a better leader, or a more efficient person at communication by 10%, which is still a gain. And I think practically it may be more than 10%. So everyone has the part they resonate with most, or the part they will be using more. So choose your path, and you can also choose to buy his book. So just to recap the core messages that I personally learned from this book. 1, genuinely make people feel important. 2, do not give orders, but ask suggestive questions. And thirdly, don't criticize, but if you need to, there is a better way of doing it. Also, encourage people when they fail and make their faults easy to correct. Be welcoming, be a listener, and be genuinely interested in people. And lastly, if you need to make a request, convey it to the person in a form that would make the person see that they will personally benefit from it as well. I hope you're able to learn a lot from this book. It was really beneficial for me. And if you want to proceed to buying the book, it's available on Amazon, on Book Depository, on Audible as well, for those who love audiobooks. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something, please consider subscribing to this channel. Share this video with your friends, your family, whatever platform you want to, and please like this video as well. And I love to hear from you, so please leave a comment concerning the book. If you'll be buying it, what approaches or what approach do you like more? What approach would you be using? Which one do you think is impractical and all? Just let me know what you think about this book in the comment section, and I'll be sure to join you right there. So that'll be all for this book review, and until next time, make sure you keep your soul beautiful.